Hey everybody, it's Mark again. With my internet being out, I've got tons of movies that I could watch. And tonight, I'm watching one of my favorite movies. It's called Something the Lord's Made with Alan Rickman and Mos Def. This movie is based upon true events. And I have to ask you, do you have a loved one that has had a heart attack and had to have maybe open heart surgery? If you have, then you want to watch this movie. This is based upon back during the segregation period. Mos Def plays a guy whose family was a carpenter, and he's a really good carpenter, but he gets laid off, and he ends up taking a job working for Alan Rickman, who's a doctor at like Harvard Medical Center or something like that. And Mos Def, his name is Thompson, I believe, or Thomas, sorry. He ends up getting he never went to college, nothing like that. He ends up working for Alan Rickman, who's, like I said, he's a well-known doctor, as a janitor. And Alan Rickman finds Thomas reading his books one day on medical books. So Alan Rickman starts testing Mos Def, or Thomas, and Thomas later is inducted as a doctor. Again, this is a movie back during the segregation period. Have you ever heard of the blue baby syndrome? The blue baby syndrome is where babies were born with basically a broken heart, and they turn blue, and they end up dying because they're not getting the oxygen that they need. It was taboo. Let me repeat that. It was taboo back during this period to perform open heart surgery. Well, Alan Rickman gets dogs that he has Mos Def, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but Thomas, to create the blue baby syndrome so they could figure out how to fix the blue baby syndrome. And there was a military family, I believe, in the movie that their baby had was born with a blue baby syndrome, and they asked Alan Rickman to operate on it. And all his peers, everybody said, you're not allowed to operate on the heart. It's taboo. Well, he does, but he's nervous, so Mos Def, who's shorter than Alan Rickman, he goes and gets him, brings him into the operating room. Again, this is back during the segregation period. You're not allowed to do stuff like this. And he gets a stool, and Dr. Thomas tells Alan Rickman, and I forget what Alan Rickman's name is, how to operate on this baby. I believe if God did not want you to have the skills, he would not give you the skills. Performing operations, open heart surgery on the heart was taboo back then. You weren't allowed to do it. And this brings me to the subject of abortions. And again, if you watch my videos, I'm for abortions for certain cases women have been aborting babies since the beginning of time. And you heard me say this. Have you heard this saying, put a twig in it? Back during like King Arthur and back during that time frame, women used to abort their pregnancies by putting some object up them to kill the fetus. And a lot of times it messed them up. And so with today's technology, with ultrasounds and other tests you could do, they could determine whether your baby is going to be born a healthy baby or not. There's a country overseas, 1 in 100,000 babies are born with a symptom that makes the baby look like the marble thing, where it looks, their muscles are all messed up, their blood's all messed up. Not one baby has ever survived that. And so if you knew that you were going to have a baby that was going to die on you, would you want to abort that baby? Yeah, it's going to mess up the husband and the wife, or the father and the mother mentally. But hold that baby in your arms for a day, couple days, or in the case overseas, 3 to 4 months. As long as those babies ever live. So hold your baby for 3 to 4 months and it dies on you. What kind of mental state are you going to be in? I know somebody that lost their baby after a couple days in the hospital, and she had to go into a mental home. And to this day, she takes medication to take care of her mental issues. So for those people who do not believe in abortions, watch this movie, Something the Lord's Made. And again, I believe if God did not want us to have the technology, we wouldn't have it. Look at the TV and the internet and airplanes and cars. And do you think that technology was developed? Let me take that back. Computers. Look at the computers. 30 years ago, it took this, longer than that, maybe 50 years ago, it took this entire house for a computer. Nowadays, I'm recording this video using my phone that has an extra hard drive in it that has 20 gig worth of data. You know how much 20 gig is? A 2-hour-long movie is 1 gig, basically. So 20 gigs, I could watch 20 movies on my phone with this data that I have. And I don't want to change the subject, so I'm not going to change the subject. But there is things that happen in life here just recently is why we have the technology that we have. And I will mention this, and that will be it, the Roswell incident. There's technology that happens in life that is the reason why we have the technology. There's things that happen in life. If God did not want us to have this technology, he would not give it to us. And again, women have been aborting babies since Noah's time frame, or Adam and Eve's time frame. If they did not want to be pregnant, they aborted it. And so why not do it safely? You know, if a child is raped, a woman is raped, you think that person wants to have that baby, that they did not love the person that raped them? Maybe the person that raped them was a drug addict. It is a scientific fact that children that are born by parents who were on drug addicts, there's a very good chance that that child will be born with a disability or will be drug addicts themselves. Or what if a woman was raped by a man that had AIDS? The baby is going to have AIDS. You know, the woman's going to have AIDS. And so why not do the safe thing? Or like in the case with the thing babies, again, I ask you, would you want to carry that baby for 9 months, hold it in your arms for 3 to 4 months, love on it, and it all of a sudden passes away on you? I guarantee you, you will have a mental breakdown. So with the technology today, why not have abortions? Yes, there are women who are sluts. I knew somebody growing up. By the time she was 16, she had 3 abortions. She was a slut. For women like that who were not raped, they would be placed on mandatory birth control, not a pill that you are required to take every day, but they have implants that last for 6 months. I know my ex-wife was on one. And so they have mandatory implants until they're ready to start a family. And they would have to have mandatory or they go to prison. Anyway, watch this movie, Something the Lord's Made. It's a very good movie. I love it. May God bless each and every one of you. Again, how many of y'all know somebody who's had open heart surgery? If it wasn't for these people, it wouldn't happen. Somebody who thought outside the box